You know, it's easier to walk away from someone who touches a wound than to sometimes stand and face yourself. Relationships mirror what we think of ourselves. Relationships offer us a space to grow, to expand, to see where we need to do healing work, to see where we need to align better, grow more, expand more, let some things go. Relationships are powerful teachers. Relationships teach you things in real time that a book could never teach you, that a podcast could never teach you, that a retreat could never teach you, that a therapist could never teach you, a coach could never teach you. Like, relationships are the masterclass of life. Maybe you're in a relationship with someone right now and they did something, they crossed the boundary. You decided to stay with them because you love them, because you're like, you know what, we can work through this. This isn't the biggest thing, to end a relationship. And then as you go through the relationship, though, those feelings come up. You start to think about what they did before, the boundary they crossed, and you start to feel like, you know what, can I really handle this? Can I really handle going through a relationship with this person, because these feelings keep coming up? But ultimately, I want you to decide like what you feel is best. I'm going to give you some prompts and some things to just think about. Before I get into all of that, I am Coach Nicole Amaya, the real life healing coach. And what I do is I heal in real time, okay? And I share with you all the things that I've learned to help you grow. Because sometimes you just need someone who's been a couple steps ahead of you or a step ahead of you and can look back and be like, okay, girl, this is how you do it. Or this is a way that you can work through something. I am still trying to figure out this life. I am still healing. I feel like when we share our stories, when we share our lessons, it helps others heal. I want to get into a quick story time. So my partner and I have been together about 5 years, and that's my boo thing, and we've been through a lot together. I literally look at him as like my best friend, because we have been through so much and overcome so much and grown so much together. Like, it's insane. And one time, not long ago, he crossed a boundary with a friend, and he's someone who, he has all female friends for the most part. That's just who he is. I've accepted that. But he crossed a boundary with a friend, and I was just like, when that happened, like, I was like, okay. He was like, well, maybe we should just do poly. We should just be open. And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm a pretty free spirit. Let's do it. Well, fast forward, that did not work out. It did not work out. He wasn't feeling me with other people. I wasn't feeling certain things. Like, it was not working. So we decided to come back together and just make it about us, right? However, that friend is still there. Okay, that friend is still there who that boundary was crossed with. And I noticed I started to have like these feelings come up, and I would feel like, well, I don't want him hanging with her, or I don't want him around her. I don't want him talking to her, because I felt like, some things may happen and that I'm not really feeling. And I feel like I had this strong desire to control, but that was also causing him to feel like I didn't truly forgive him, because I made a choice to forgive him. I made a choice to let's move forward, let's move on. But then I'm still like holding him tight. I'm gripping him. I'm trying to control the situation. And that wasn't healthy for him or me. So things came up and I had to really start thinking, okay, how can I move through this? But there were times where I was like, you know what? I can't even deal with these feelings of insecurity, these feelings of not feeling like I'm enough. Like, I could go be by myself for all that, right? But I knew it was a lesson, because I'm always trying to pull the lesson from every situation. Life is a school. We get the test first and then we get the lesson. That's just the way it is. So I kept saying, like, what do I need to do? What am I missing? And the fact that I wanted to just run away and not deal with those emotions showed me that I was dealing with avoidance, 1. 2, that I was thinking that if I left, that I wouldn't have to experience those feelings again. And that's not true. Sometimes when you're in situations with someone it can force you to see things in yourself that maybe you don't see when you're alone. Because I know, like, for me, when I'm single, I feel like I am just the ish. Okay, I feel sexy, I feel beautiful, I just feel like, I just feel so vibrant. Right? But then when I get in a relationship, those feelings of not enoughness comes up. So when he crossed that boundary with a friend, the feeling of not enough came up for me. And before you go thinking, well, you gonna stay with somebody who crossed the boundary, or you need to just be done with that, And it's like, first of all, we're human. Okay, we are human beings, and human beings make mistakes. And if you are looking for perfection, you will be looking forever. Because first, look in the mirror. Are you perfect? I know I'm not. I got a lot of flaws. I got a lot of things that I'm working through. And I think the most important thing is, are you willing to work through those flaws? Are you willing to work through the things that you need to heal? Are you looking to grow, or do you just want to stay where you are? But if you're in a relationship with someone who you both are looking to grow and to evolve and to reach your highest level of self, then no, you don't just run from difficult situations. You don't just run from things that are challenging, because that's when the work needs to be done. Not just for the relationship, but more so for you, how it's growing you. I got my notes here because sometimes I'll be rambling. But what I realized, though, it's easier sometimes to walk away from someone who touches an inner wound, because you don't want to face yourself. It's easier to just say, you know what, I don't want to have to deal with this. I don't like feeling insecure, or I don't like feeling like I'm not enough. So I'm going to leave this situation because I don't know how to handle these feelings. But it will come up again in another situation, because the thing about life is that you will keep getting the same class, the same test, until you get the lesson. So running from me was not the solution. Running from me is not the solution. I may feel like I want to run. I may feel like I just can't deal with this. But that is when I need to be still. I think most people can understand the I'm not enough wound. And we don't like things that make us feel like we're not enough, that makes us feel like we're lacking. We all deal with those feelings. And it's normal and it's natural, but it's like, how can I get back to my center? And how can I not put the power in someone else's hands to make me feel like I'm enough or not? Because that's an inside job, not an outside job. So recently he was hanging with this friend, right? And I was just, I was checking his location. I realized he was still with her, still hanging out, because they share like they share an activity, a hobby together. And I was like, oh, he's still there. He's still with her. And I was just like, I was getting like frustrated. And a part of me wanted to call and be like, well, you still hanging? Like, what are y'all doing, right? But I realized, like, that's not what you do. That's not how you approach the situation. Like, when I chose to forgive him, I'm not going to sit there and attack you, right? Because I made a conscious choice to forgive. So no one wants to feel like, you are constantly mistrusting them. Like, you're not forgiving them when you're like constantly punishing them. Like, that's not fair to the other person. So I literally sat with, how do I get past these insecurities? How do I get past these feelings? And it's not going to always happen overnight. Like, it's a process. Sometimes we want the feelings to go away immediately. It doesn't work like that. You have to sit with it. But I'm going to share with you the things I did to help me kind of move through those feelings of like, insecurity. And it's going to come back up again. And I'm going to revisit this list of tools and suggestions that I'm giving to you. So this is not a one and done type thing, okay? This is a constantly coming back to it. So something's coming up again when I'm feeling like I'm not enough, I'm feeling insecure, maybe they did something, maybe they said something, maybe, and those feelings are coming up. So this is what I'm doing literally in real time. And I found a lot of success with it. Like, that night I didn't sleep well, but my sleep is back on schedule. I'm feeling more confident in myself. My confidence has returned. And who knows? I may not feel this way in a couple days, but then I'm going to return back to my tools. Because it's not about running from your emotions. It's about learning how to deal with your emotions in a positive manner, in a manner that helps you grow. not a manner that makes you shrink, because you can handle anything. You can handle anything that comes your way. Any emotion, any feeling, you are capable of handling it. But when you run away, you don't give yourself the space to grow that muscle. You don't give yourself the space and the opportunity to get stronger, to get more resilient, to ultimately have more trust in yourself. So number one is, look and reflect on the whole person, not just an isolated incident. Okay, it could be really easy to confuse a person with the one thing that they did that you didn't like, or the one thing that they did that maybe overstepped the boundary. But reflect on the whole person. We are human, and I think a lot of times in relationships, especially well, I'm a Black woman, so I can only go by relationships, the Black experience, right? But I think a lot of times, especially in Black households, when maybe we didn't see healthy relationships, we are still trying to figure it out. We are still trying to figure out, how do you have a healthy relationship with another person of the opposite sex? It is not easy, especially if you didn't grow up seeing that, right? So what I've learned is what I'm learning in real time. Plus, I have a daughter, and I want her to see her mom be able to navigate a relationship in a healthy way, and she'll see that there are ups and downs, but see that we also get through it. So yes, looking at the whole person. And that's what I would think about my partner. My partner is an amazing person. He's a great guy. All around, he's a great guy. And to just define him by one thing wasn't fair, because I think about it, I've done a lot of things, okay? And to define me by those couple actions that I've taken wouldn't be fair, because I bring a richness to his life, which I'm sure he would agree, and he brings a richness to my life. So you really need to think about okay, this person who maybe they crossed the boundary, maybe they cheated on you, maybe they lied to you about something, but look at the whole person. Let's not always be so quick to let something go. Let's not be so quick to run from challenge. Let's not be so quick to end a relationship, because relationships are sacred. Relationships are sacred, and I think we don't view them as sacred enough. It's oh, I can get another one. I can get another one. I can go swipe on Tinder. I can go, go to the bar and find someone else. We don't put enough significance and sacredness into relationships to understand this is another person. This is another divine, another source of divine, another divine spirit who chose to meet with us during this lifetime. Let's not be so quick to get rid of it. And of course, I'm not saying for extreme situations, things you may feel like you're in danger. Come on, let's use the common sense, right? But I'm talking about those everyday situations that come up that make you be I don't got to deal with this. You don't have to deal with it, but in a relationship, things come up. And if your default is to run, because believe me, my default is to run. So this is why I know sometimes it's better to just stay, because you're going to keep running and running and running, and you're running from one thing to the next, and you're not getting anything different per se. You still have to be faced with the same feelings, the same emotions. You can't run from yourself. Number two is, how did I find out about the said incident? Okay, so if your partner did cheat or did lie, how did you find out? Did you have to find out because you stumbled across it? Or did they tell you? Were they open with you? Did they come and communicate what happened to you? The fact that my partner was honest with me about what happened shows that, he respects me. It shows that he respects my right to know, and that he respects ultimately our friendship. He couldn't keep things from me. I know that he is honest. I know that he will tell me what went down, what happened, even if it's risking losing me, even if it's risking, hurting my feelings. And the thing is, just because someone loves you doesn't mean they won't hurt your feelings. Love doesn't promise not to hurt. To love opens you up to so much hurt, but to love is such a beautiful thing that is worth the risk. And that's what I'm learning more and more every day. Okay, so the next thing that I did to just kind of help me deal with those uncomfortable feelings of, insecurity, of not feeling like I was enough, I communicated my needs. And what I communicated my needs, and right now one of those needs was communication. I needed more communication. So, for example, like if he's gonna be out with her later, maybe just like shoot me a text like, "Hey, babe, hanging out a little later than I expected," or we're just, whatever, shooting a breeze, or give me a call just to be like, "Hey, babe," whatever. Like that's what I need right now. And it's not putting something negative on him. It's not like, saying, "Well, you need to do this and you need to do that." It's literally saying, "This is where I'm at, and this is what I need." And I think oftentimes, I know for me, sometimes like I will have a hard time communicating my needs because it made me feel vulnerable. I don't want you to know that I need you to like tell me something, or to maybe communicate with me to help me just process things. Like I don't want to feel like I'm not independent, like I can't figure this out on my own. And sometimes like the opposite side of that is to be aggressive, like to try to bring conflict, right? So instead of saying, this is what I need, it's like, "Oh, I see you still with her." So it's like that passive aggressiveness, right? Or aggressiveness, depends on how you do. But the opposite of that is to just communicate, what do you need? And I know in that moment I was like, well, I need for him to call me. I need just to call him, just to be like, "Hey, everything good?" Just to hear your voice and just get a reminder that you love me. That's what I need as I work through this. It's not putting my feelings on him where he has to make me feel better, but it's like, "Hey, we're a team, we're partners, so this is kind of where I'm at right now. Can you kind of just do a little extra on your part just to help the team move a little bit more efficiently?" And someone loves you, like they want to do things to support your growth, to support you in feeling good, but they can't make you feel good. So for example, like I called, and because I sent him a text, but I see he ain't see it. So I called and I was like, "Yeah, I'm having a difficult time right now. I just need, just to hear your voice. I just need for you to kind of like, maybe tell me if you're going to be out later, or, this is what I need." And we talked for a few minutes and he was like, "Okay, are you good now? I love you, babe." And I'm like, "Cool." But you can't just be like then trying to hold a whole conversation, right? And knowing that they're out with the I couldn't do that, because that would just be ridiculous, right? Because then it would be like, "Why are you putting me in this situation?" But so it's like a balance. But he did it, and it just made me feel better in the moment. It made me feel more at ease. Right? So getting clear on what it is that you need in the situation. So your partner crossed the boundary. Your partner may have, done something that just really brought up a lot of feelings in you that were uncomfortable. So as you work through them, you may need a little extra comfort, a little extra support, a little extra communication, a little extra reassurance. And a person who loves you, like I believe that they don't mind doing that. Like they will do it, because they want to see that you're good. But once again, you can't put it all on them. That can't be the only thing that you do. "Hey, baby, reassure me 24 hours a day. Reassure me all," like that's ridiculous, right? Because at that point, then maybe the choice is not to stay. Maybe the choice is, I really have to do so much healing work that maybe I shouldn't be this close in relationship to someone at this time. So another thing that I did to just kind of help me work through those difficult moments was being intentional about my thoughts. Oh yes, this is a big one. Okay, be intentional about your thoughts. Okay, because when you start just, your mind can just run. Okay, you think about one thing and then that joint just go all down the rabbit hole. Like, so you have to be intentional about your thoughts. And this is where I was. Like, I found myself thinking like all types of things. And then I had to catch myself and I was like, "Hold up, boo-boo. Hold up. Is that thought serving you? Is that thought helping you feel better? Is that thought supporting your efforts in relaxing, right? Is that thought causing you anxiety? Is that thought causing you worry? Is that thought causing you stress? Then baby, you got to let that thought go, because we can't control our thoughts. We can't control like our automatic thoughts. But once we know that we're thinking something, like we have the ability to shift. We have the ability to change what we are thinking. So even if like your brain is just going all over the place, like you have the ability to still think something else. Even if that other thought that doesn't feel as good is still in the background, eventually you'll be able to overshadow it and overpower it with the more positive thought, or with the thought that serves you better in the moment, if you just keep thinking it. Like, you just have to really stay vigilant of what is on your mind. Because then when you start thinking stuff, then you start feeling a certain way, right? And then it starts to paint this perspective, and then you start to just see the world, and like it goes down this rabbit hole. So for example, if you're thinking like, you know what, I'm not enough, this ain't gonna work, and and my daddy left me, and then I never had a friend that stayed around, and you know what, I just can't even do this. You just start thinking all these things. You go down a rabbit hole, and eventually you start feeling really bad, hopeless, worthless, and it just doesn't put you in a good space. And then that's not going to reflect well on your relationship either. It's not going to help your relationship grow when you're feeling like that, when you're coming from that like really negative space. So like I said, relationships are it's a masterclass. Relationships are a master class. And I think that if we really understood that, we wouldn't be so quick to leave, because I have left so many times. Like, I have been a runner. I had a boyfriend at one point, he called me road runner, because he said, you always ready to put your shoes on. You always ready to put your shoes on. I'm ready to go. There you go, running. I always ran. And this relationship has really taught me to be more still. Even when I feel like running, even when everything inside of me is like, go, 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 go. I know that's just like, that's just my trauma response. Like, it's like, gotta go, gotta go. Right. So being intentional about what I'm thinking, though, really helped me move through those feelings of insecurity. It helped for me to take ownership of what is on my mind. You have to take ownership of what is on your mind. No one can think for you. No one can put thoughts in your head at a certain age, of course. Like, people can have influence and impact on you, but someone can say you need to think this, right? So I need to close my computer. It just keeps making noise. So yes, I can't even say this enough. Be mindful of what you're thinking. The next thing I did, number 5, and let me just do a recap right quick. So number 1 was to look and reflect on the whole person, right? Not just on the isolated incident. Number 2 is, how did I find out about said incident? Okay, did he tell me? Did I stumble upon it? Right? Like, that's something to kind of think about when you're having those feelings. Like, okay, is this something that I have to go searching for? Or do I know that my partner will come and communicate with me freely? I think that's a part of moving through those uncomfortable emotions, those uncomfortable feelings of insecurity. Number 3 is communicate your needs, okay? And to your partner in a calm manner, okay? In a calm manner. And I'm talking about like from a woman to male relationship, like a heterosexual relationship. But even if it's just the masculine energy, even if you are the feminine and you're connecting with the masculine energy in general, whether that's in a woman, like, you can't just be going off at the mouth like, well, you gonna have to do this because you gotta do, like, they don't respond to that. They react, and it's not reacting in a way that's going to benefit the relationship, right? So being mindful about, how do I communicate my needs in a way that is soft, in a way that is feminine, in a way that is loving, right? Because they will respond to that. They want to fulfill that. They want to fulfill that need. So yes, being clear on how you can communicate in a way that is soft and feminine. Okay. Number 4 is being intentional about your thoughts. No one can make you think anything. You have that power. Leads me to number 5. Remembering that no matter what happens, you have the power to bounce back, that your resiliency muscle is strong. So when you start to have those feelings of insecurity, you start to worry like, oh, will this happen? Will this come up? Oh, maybe I'm not enough here. This is wrong with me. That's wrong with me. Da, 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 da. Like, know that whatever happens, like, you are strong enough and you are resilient enough. Maybe you're not going to be strong all the time, but you definitely are going to be resilient. You can get through any situation. And like I said, love opens you up. Love opens you up. Love just got you just open on all angles. And it can really challenge you and try you in so many ways. But know that no matter what happens in love, that you can always bounce back. You are resilient. And that's what I had to tell myself. So those moments when I did start to worry, which is normal, I started to worry about, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? I say, you know what? You can't control what someone else does. But what you can say is that no matter what happens, you will be able to bounce back. You will still be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You will be resilient. Your resiliency muscle is strong. There is nothing you can't handle. There is nothing you can't get through. And I had to remind myself of that. Number 6 is accepting the discomfort of insecurity when it comes up, because security is something that comes from within, not without. Let me say that again. Accepting the discomfort of insecurity when it comes up, because security is something that you get from within, not from without. So no one can make you feel something that isn't already a seed of it already is not like is within you. So if I didn't already have like seeds of insecurity inside of me, couldn't someone make me feel like that? It's already there, but they touched on that wound, right? So you just have to accept the feeling. Accept the feeling of discomfort. It's uncomfortable. Okay, accept it though. Sit with it. Sit with it. Sit with your discomfort. And the more I sat with it, I kept telling myself, you know, security is an inside job. Security is an inside job. Security is an inside job. So I sat with those feelings and I would affirm that to myself. And it literally helped. It literally helped, because when my mind started to wonder, I started to worry, started to think, I kept saying, nope, you're giving your power away. Security is an inside job, not an outside job. Because the thing is, if you keep allowing what's on the outside determine what you feel inside, you're never going to have any control within. Like basically you're just my dad used to say, like, you're just like a light switch. Someone can turn you on and off, on and off. Oh, they feel like having you on today, you on. They feel like having you off today, you off. They can just keep flipping you up and down, up and down. And that's what happens when you allow the external world to constantly dictate how you feel internally. The best class on this is in a relationship, because who is closest to you? Your mate. So they can do things, say things that just make you, that just affects you so much, right? But that's when you lean into and remind yourself that, okay, the external world should not have that much power on my internal. It does. It's normal. It's human, right? So it's a constant lesson. It's a constant lesson that you can have, a constant class you will be taking. Because it's not easy, right? You may master it one day, but then the next day you like, what you say? You know, and you're upset and frustrated. Like, it's normal, but I think the goal is to minimize how much time you allow that external situation to impact you internally. Because I think it's going to impact you regardless, because that's somebody you care about, somebody you love. Like, we're emotional beings. Hello. But I think being mindful of how long it takes for you to get back to that equilibrium, to get back to that stillness, to get back to that peace, that inner peace, right? Because at first, sometimes like things would happen, it would impact me for days, for weeks, right? Months maybe. But I'm noticing that the time is not as long. It's getting shorter. It's getting shorter. It's getting shorter. It's getting shorter. So I believe that's where the true power lies. It's how short can we make this process of getting back to our stillness, to reclaiming our inner world. Okay, so the last thing that I do to just kind of help me move through those uncomfortable emotions of insecurity, or when things in my relationship, you know, touch that I'm not enough wound. I view the relationship as a teacher, like I've been saying throughout this video, and ask myself, what can you learn? What can you learn from this situation? What can you learn from it? That is the real foundation of healing. It's not to just keep like getting better and improving, but it's getting back to yourself. And I think we go through so much in our lives. If we come into the world and we're perfect, like perfectly flawed beings, right? But then we go through situations, we go through life, and sometimes we get further and further away from our true selves. And relationships can teach you a lot if you're open. And I believe those teachings can help you get back to your true self. So asking yourself, what can I learn from this situation? And like I said in the previous point about, remembering that security comes from within, not without, one of the things that I know I need to learn is to stop allowing the external world to impact my internal world so much. Because as long as my external can consistently change my internal, I'm a slave to conditions, people, and circumstances. And my true goal in life is to get to freedom. Freedom in all ways. Financial freedom, freedom in how I'm able to move through my life, my everyday life. Freedom in my relationships. Just being a free being. So my relationship is teaching me one of the things that I have been saying I want to be, is that's to be free. But if I keep allowing anything that my partner does, that may make me feel uncomfortable, to just rock my whole entire world, and I'm starting to question my worth and my significance and all these things, then that's reminding me that I have more work to do. And maybe this will be a lifelong journey, but I'm willing to do the work. So that brings me to my closing, which is just that, like, look at your relationships as a teacher. Like I said, the best masterclass you can have is your relationship. Don't always be so quick to throw away relationships because it gets uncomfortable, because challenges pop up. We are flawed beings. We are human beings, and we are complex, and there are so many layers to us, and we're still trying to figure out ourselves. So things happen, situations occur, but it's like we have to have grace. We are all trying to figure this life out. We are all trying to figure how to navigate relationships and still stay true to who we are and still feel free in our relationships. Like, I believe freedom in a relationship is possible, but it takes a lot of healing work and a lot of self-awareness, and it takes both parties, or however many parties are involved, to do the work. I hope this video was helpful. I hope that you can walk away with just a bit more clarity on how to navigate those feelings of insecurity that may pop up when you are in a relationship with someone, whether they, stepped out, cheated, crossed the boundary, lied, or just done something that just touches a wound inside of you. Share this video with at least 2 other people in your community, okay? Because I'm sure we all have somebody that is in a relationship that could probably benefit from these nuggets, okay? I can guarantee it, okay? So share the information, because remember, you can't be learning and growing and not sharing it with your tribe. We want our tribe to grow with us, right? So share the information. Once again, I am Coach Nicole Amai, the Real Life Healing Coach, and thank you for listening to me, rant and ramble some of my thoughts. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.